We'll now look at a few different kind of averages other than the mean. The first we'll look at is called the median. The median is the midpoint of our data set whenever we order things from smallest to largest. Here's our first example. The first step in finding a median is to order things smallest to largest. We can see that our smallest data value is 18, and then we have two more 18s. So there's three 18s. The next one is a 19, and there are two of those. And then after that, we have two 20s, a 21, and a 24. And if you count these up, you can see that there are 9 data values. Therefore, our median is going to be 19. And this happens because we can see that there are 4 data values below that 19 and 4 above. So this one has a median of 19. This is an example similar to the last one. However, we've added some data values. If we order again, we have 3 18s. If we look at the next one, we have 2 19s. After that, 2 20s. We then have a 21, a 22, and a 24. And if you count these, you can see that there are 10 data values. Anytime there's an even number, finding the midpoint is a little bit tricky. If I try to use this 19, that would be 4 data values below and 5 above, so that's not the middle. If I try to use this 20, that would be 5 above and 4 below, or 4 above and 5 below, so that doesn't work either. We need something in between these values. Therefore, if you have an even number of data values, you take your 2 points in the middle, which in this case is 19 and 20, and you find their average. So you add them up and divide by 2. Therefore, this median is 19.5. The next one we'll look at is the mode. The mode is the data value that occurs the most often. It is possible to have more than one mode. We could have 2 modes because there are 2 data values that occur the most. We could have 3. We could also have 0 modes. If everything occurs the same amount of times, we don't have any mode at all. So it's the thing that occurs the most often, and it's possible to have more than one or none. Here's our example. And we can look, we see we have 2 20s. So that seems to be several. If we look at 19, there are 2 of those. However, you can see that if we look at 18, we see 1, 2, 3 18s, and nothing occurs more often than that. So our mode is 18. Next, we'll look at the mid-range. This is probably the one that's used the least often. It is the average of the lowest and the highest values. So we're going to find the lowest value, the highest value, add those up, and divide by 2. Here's our data set. The first step in finding our mid-range is to find the lowest data value, which we can see is 18. The highest data value we can see is 24. So we need to add these up and divide by 2. We have 18 plus 24, which is 42, over 2, which would be a mid-range of 21. The last one we'll look at here is the range. The range is the difference between the highest and lowest values. So the mid-range, we added them and divided by 2. The range, we only subtract the highest and lowest values. Here's our data set again. We still have the same highest and lowest, 18 and 24. So our range would be 24 minus 18, which is 6. Therefore, this has a range of 6. Whereas the median and the mode and the mid-range can tell you a little bit about the average data value, The range is something else. This tells you how much variation there is in the data, how closely tight the data is packed, or how spread out it is.